Hello everyone, a warm welcome to the session today. I'm Piyush, I'm going to be your main host. I hope all of you can hear me loud and clear. So today is going to be a really interesting session because we're going to talk about how to get into the top Indian B schools. Now, I'm sure many of you are working professionals who have 2, 3, 4, 5 plus years of work experience. Some of you might even have 10 years of work experience under your belt, and you're looking at staying in India. You're looking at building your career in India. So if that's what you're looking at, and you want to get into the top B schools in India, today we are going to talk about that. I'm going to help you understand what are the topmost B schools in India that accept GMAT scores. You can apply to a GMAT score, and how do you get into those schools? What kind of skills that B schools in India look at, and on not just general skills. I'm talking about specific skills for specific B schools. So without any further ado, let's get started. But it will be great if you guys can let me know if my audio is fine. If my audio is fine, just give me a shout out in the chat here. Just say yes, I can hear you or something like that, so that I know my audio is fine and we can get started. So really excited about this session. We're gonna go deep dive into applications of some of the schools as well, like for example ISB. So let me share the structure overview of the session. So a couple of minutes I'll spend on who are we, what is that we do. Again, let me just increase the size of the slide. So who are we is what we'll do. Thank you, Ashwin. Thank you, Rohan, for letting me know that my audio is clear. Then we'll talk about the categories of schools. So I have divided Indian B schools into different categories based on multiple factors that will help you in understanding which schools should you apply to and why. So that I'll talk about. And then we'll talk about this common question that a lot of people ask: ISB versus IIM. Does it make sense to apply to ISB? Does it make sense to apply to IIMs? In what cases which school is better for you? So that's something which I'll definitely talk about. I'll also talk about how to choose the school, certain other criteria which no one else will tell you probably when choosing the school. So people tell you look at the salary numbers, look at the rankings, but there are certain other things that you can also look at. So how to choose schools is something I'm going to talk about. Then we'll do ISB deep dive. I know ISB application deadline has been declared. It's 15th of September. It's less than 2 months away. So many of you will be looking at ISB. I'm sure about that. So we'll deep dive into ISB. We'll dissect and bisect the essays of ISB and try and understand what the B school is really looking for over there. And that's pretty much it. I'll also talk about one or two more B schools around that deep dive part as well. Okay, and all of this will not be just plain gyan. It will be with case studies. So I'll take up case studies. I'll show you real essays. I'll show you how those things have been implemented. Okay. So are you guys excited about it? Let me know. Yeah, if you're excited, give this video a like or thumbs up or just say yes in the chat. That will be great to know. And I see about 7 to 10 of you are live watching this. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them here. Feel free to share your profiles. Happy to discuss them. In case you want to understand anything about like the application process to Indian B schools, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, because the objective of this live session is to interact with you guys. Okay, so a quick intro about who are we, what is that we do, very quickly about that, and then we move on to the main part of the session. So I'm gonna be the main host. My name is Piyush. I'm a co-founder of GMATWhiz. I have over a decade experience of helping people enter top B schools. I'm a tutor, I'm an admission consultant. I have been as an ex-AGAC member. So AGAC is basically Association of International Graduate Admission Consultants, which is the biggest admission consultant organization in the world. There's a very strenuous process for to be selected as an AGAC member. I was an AGAC member like in around 2018, 2017, 2018, and I attended a week-long conference because of being an AGAC member. I was invited to a week-long conference in the US, which happened on the campuses of top B schools like Kellogg, Chicago Booth, Michigan. I attended the conferences there. I met almost all adcoms of all top B schools that you can think of. So there were adcoms from Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, INSEAD, you name a B school, and all the top B schools were present there, talking to admission consultants about what they look at in a particular individual who is applying to the B school. What are the traits that they look at? What are the things that they desire? What are the do's? What are the don'ts? So all of those learnings were shared with admission consultants so that they can pass on that knowledge to the students and help them actually get into the top B schools, understand what each B school offers as well. Okay, so that's a quick intro about me. At GMATWhiz, we have helped students convert tons and tons of these schools. So some of the schools that we have helped people convert are on your screen, and all these B schools, by the way, are in the top 50 rankings globally. Okay, there was less space on the slide. We have tried not to clutter it, but you can see a lot of B schools we have helped people convert. So we are expert at helping students not just ace their GMAT journey, we are also good at applications journey. Now that's a quick intro about GMATWhiz. Now let's talk about the B schools. So as I said, we'll divide the Indian B schools into categories. So the four categories that I believe you should be looking at, the first of them is ISB. Now, why ISB is a special category or the first category is because ISB competes with the premium. It's one of the topmost programs in India. Like if you're looking at the best placement opportunities, if you are looking at the best career opportunities, or even the best learning opportunities in India for any executive program, or any, when I say executive program, I don't mean part-time program, I mean full-time programs where people are coming with some bit of an experience. So ISB requires a minimum of 2 years of experience to apply. So if you're looking at any school that requires some work experience, ISB is the top of the league, and it actually competes with the 1 year programs that you have in IIMs, basically Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. It competes very well with this. So the placements of ISB is very much comparable to Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta 2 year programs, not 1 year, sorry, 2 year programs. So ISB is a very different league. You get to compete with the best people in the market, and you have a class which is generally having about on an average about 3 to 4 years of experience. So it's a pretty slightly younger batch of students who you like study with basically, but you still have people with 15 years of experience as well in the batch. So the average tends to be around 3 to 4, but the number, like the range is pretty big, like it's broad. It goes up to 15 years also, but the number of people with 10 plus years of experience is less. So this is a program which is catered towards I would say young to mid-level professionals. Okay, so if you are someone who is somewhere between this range, like young to mid-level range, this is the best program for you. Okay, I'm not sure why my hand, like my writing is like this on the slide. There's some setting issue which is happening, but I hope you're able to read it out. It's a little legible at least. Okay, so if you're young to mid level professional, let's say you have 2 to 7 years of experience, ISB is the best place for you to get in. Hands down, in India, that's the best program. Now, the average score of ISB for GMAT used to be 710 on GMAT Classic. On GMAT Focus, we are recommending people to target somewhere around 665 to 675 just to be on the safer side for ISB. Okay. Now, what about IIMs? So IIMs are the true executive programs in the sense that most of the IIMs, if you talk about, let's say, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, Lucknow, these have a program which requires you to have 4 to 5 years of minimum work experience. So that's the minimum criteria that you need to achieve in order to get into these schools. Now, are these schools like, how good are these schools? So they're definitely some of the best programs in India. Do they compete at the same level as ISB? I'll hold my thoughts over there. So again, I personally feel that learning opportunities are much better in ISB compared to IIMs, but again, IIMs are top-notch programs still. The 1 year programs are pretty good, but these programs, you'll find the average age of people coming in to be much higher, because obviously the minimum age criteria is 4 to 5 years. So if you're someone who is in the 6+ years bracket, like if you are in the 6 to 10 years bracket, IIM program is probably the best program for you. Like it's the most ideal program. You'll have the best career opportunities out after completing the MBA. Because the way you need to think about this is that when companies come to hire from a campus, okay, they kind of know what is the average work experience that people in general have in the campus, on the campus. So they come up with those kind of roles. They have very set requirements over there. So if you are someone who is strictly a mid-level professional, or maybe reaching towards a senior level professional, IIMs are probably the one of the best programs for you in terms of fit. I'm talking about. Okay, now there's another set of program, the Masters Union. It's a very new program. It's based in Gurgaon, in the heart of Cyber City. If you're from Delhi NCR, you'll probably know about Cyber City, and if you're not, still you might know about Cyber City. So it's the hub of corporates, MNCs, and big organizations. Greater career opportunities exist. Masters Union is a very experiential learning program. So it's a very different program in the sense they try to teach through like live skills and projects, and people from industry come to teach. So it's a very different kind of a program. So if you're looking at very experiential learning module for an MBA, Masters Union is doing decently well. Again, obviously the brand is not as strong as the ISBs and IIMs, but if the learnings are solid, students are doing decently well. But yeah, it's still a young program. Then you have programs from established universities like colleges like SIB, SPJAN, XLRI, MDI, Great Lakes, which are like brands in themselves, and all of them are in the top 10 MBA programs. But again, the career opportunities depend on you. Like it's a mixed bag for many people. Like almost most of the people in the batches generally get a very great career opportunities, but then if you're not that great, like if you don't perform that well in the program, you might not have as amazing career opportunities as an IIM or ISB. And again, please understand, all of this is comparative. I'm myself an MDI alumni. MDI is a great program. I'm not demeaning any of the B schools here. I'm just trying to help you understand in terms of career opportunities and learning opportunities, what kind of learning opportunities you can expect. And again, SPJAN, MDI, XLRI, all these programs that I'm talking about, it's again better for people who are mid-level professionals. Okay, so these are the B schools that you can look at when you're looking at India and GMAT. Again, there are other programs like Bitsum, you have like IIM Ghaziabad, a lot of other E schools also accept GMAT scores, but I've just mentioned the top ones here right now on the screen. Okay, so I see Azindani saying 6 years of experience in IoT and product management, intend to get into product management and digital transformation roles after MBA. I'm solely targeting B schools in India. So that's great, Indranil. I like the focus that you have, and it's doing an MBA is a great thing to actually get into product management. It's one of the best ways to get into product management, in fact, these days. So if you look at some of the topmost startups or even MNCs for that matter, most of the product managers are B school grads from top school programs. Now I'm talking about product management, core product management, not technical product management, obviously here. Okay, so definitely that's a very good thing to think about. Now, what are these B schools looking at? Now I'm going to talk about the general admission criteria, and then we'll talk about basically specific cases also about different B schools giving more importance to different things. I'll talk about that as well. So Aditya is asking, will there be a chance for someone with 2 years of experience? Yes, Aditya, 2 years is the minimum criteria, and there are many people with 2 years experience getting into ISB. But it is important that you showcase your experience in a very holistic way. You should be able to showcase initiatives, leadership skills that you have shown. And leadership and initiatives is not just about leading people. Please understand that. It's more about the impact that you make on organizations, on people. And I'm going to talk about that in depth when we go to the ISB part of the slide. Okay, so admission criteria, GMAT weightage. So different schools have different GMAT weightages. Just for you to understand this, guys, it's very, very critical for you to understand how much weightage each B school is giving to GMAT. Now, if you're targeting Indian B schools, there's a high likelihood you're born and brought up in India. Now, the mindset in India for students is, I get a great score on my test and I get selected, right? You do very well on NEET, you get selected into the top IITs. You don't have to worry about, let's say, anything else. You get into the top IITs if you have a great score. So great score is equal to a great college is the thought process that Indian students have generally. Now this, let me call this as a conventional thought process, okay? Now this conventional thought process is still pretty solid, pretty true for most of the IIM executive programs. So if you're looking at IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, 1 year programs, they still give a lot of weightage to GMAT. How do I know that? One, obviously they mentioned that on their website. Second, when you look at their application process, initially when you're applying to these schools, they will not ask for a lot of essays. They'll ask for a resume, basic information about you, your achievements, these kind of things, maybe 1 or 2 essays with that, and your GMAT score. And once you are shortlisted, then they'll ask you a whole list of questions on the essays part. So in a way, you can think of it this way, that if you're someone who has a very solid profile, okay, and a solid GMAT score, you have a very high chance of getting to the second stage of, let's say, an IIM ABC. On the other hand, when you look at ISB for that matter, ISB doesn't give that much weightage to GMAT. For them, GMAT is not like a shortlisting criteria. It's one of the criteria. So they look at holistically your essays, and that's why ISB asks you to submit the essays in the first go. Like in the application itself, you have to ask the submit the essays. You have to submit the LORs also. I'll talk about one more program, which is IIM Kozhikode PGP-BL program, which is postgraduate program in business leadership, which is open for people with 2 years of experience. So Aditya, you are eligible for that program also, and that's a very good program again. Now, in that program, if you notice, that's one of the only IIMs which has 6 essays, 5 definite essays you have to write, like 5 must be written essays, and then 1 optional essay is also there. So there are 6 essays that IIM Kozhikode is asking even in the first round. And when you go to the second round, they ask for another couple of 3 to 4 essays as well after that. So there are few B schools who are asking you a lot of essays. Now, can you tell me, guys, like, how does it matter whether a B school is asking more questions or less questions in their application process? How does it matter? Can you guys tell me? Think about it for a minute. I have about 10 plus people here. Let me see if you're able to understand why am I focusing on the number of essays when I'm talking about GMAT weightage. Let me know, guys. What do you think? Why having more essays is a better thing than having less essays? Can you guys tell me that? Amit, Indranil, Ashwin, what do you think? Yeah, so there are courses by IIM Lucknow and Shillong also. Indranil, there are courses by other IIMs as well. I've not mentioned all of them obviously here. I've just mentioned the top ones. So if you have 12 years of experience, Amit, better programs would be IIMs for you. ISB usually is very reluctant with people having more than 8 years of experience. Again, there are people with 15 years of experience also who get in, but getting in is not easy when your experience is more than 10 years for sure. Okay. Each essay needs at least 2 weeks to complete. GMAT wages will be reduced. Great, Ashwin. I like your thought. So see, when a B school is asking you lots of questions in their essays, what you need to understand is they are more interested in knowing you. They are more interested in giving you a chance. They are not just looking at data points. They're not just looking at GMAT score. They're not just looking at your job. They're not just looking at the company's name that you're working with. They are actually interested in what kind of impact you make, what kind of impact you have made. And they're not just looking at considering impact from the standpoint of just brand names, basically, or just the GMAT score. So if you are someone who doesn't have a great profile, and you are someone who is a good storyteller, who have had leadership experiences in the past, who has done the right goal alignment, you still have a very good shot at those schools, basically. They're increasing more data points to access the profile. Yes. So in a way, Indranil, think of it this way, that they are looking at you as a person. They're not just looking at your data points. They're looking at you. How do you think? What are your goals? And like your SOP and all those things. That's very critical for these B schools. So if you're looking at if you are a person with a great profile, right? You're someone who has worked in top-notch institutes, like you have worked in the MBBs, you have worked in like some of the unicorns. Again, when I say unicorn, I don't mean like some of the unicorns which are going for like a toss right now, but they're doing well. So if you've done something like that, or you're someone from an IID, or you're an SRCC grad, yeah, you can apply. Like you have a good GMAT score along with that, like let's say 760, 750, you will have advantage for in both the B schools, by the way. Like you'll not be at a disadvantage anywhere. So you'll be at an advantage in case of IIMs, because they will be happy. They'll select you for the second round. But if you're someone who has an average profile, who doesn't have a great profile, you have an average profile, but you have made an impact in what you have done. You are clear. You have goal clarity. Okay, your goals are aligned. You know why are you doing an MBA. You have shown leadership. You're good in 2, 3, and 4. Then you have a better chance at ISB. You have a better chance at IIM Kozhikode PGP-BL program. You have a better chance at these schools, because they are gonna look at you holistically. In fact, I would talk about some of the case studies as we move forward. But there was a student last year. She had a 630 only on GMAT, and she was not from any of the top brands that you guys know about. But even then, we still were able to apply to IIM Kozhikode with a 630 on GMAT Classic, which is a less around 555 score on GMAT Focus. That score, we were able to not just apply to IIM Kozhikode, we got selected to the interview stage, till the interview stage, basically. So that's something which can happen with you also, even with a average profile. If you have made impact, if you have clarity around the goals, you have a better chance, basically. Okay, so Amit, your question is very personal. I'm going to definitely take that up. Don't worry, but I'll take it up in the Q&A part of the session. But yeah, if you want the answer in short, it is definitely worth it. It's worth a lot more. And one of the reasons why it is worth a lot more is the word that you see after 24 lakhs in, that the next two words that you see, that's one of the very big reasons. But I'll come to that in depth. Don't worry, I'll talk about that in depth. And in case any one of you wants to talk to us, our team, understand how we can help you with your application journey, or understanding the right B schools for you, how we can help you out in the application process, feel free to reach out. There's a link I've shared. You can schedule a call, and if you're lucky, I might get on a call directly with you and to talk about how we can help. So if you have any other questions, feel free to schedule a call on my calendar as well. Not just for the applications, even for GMAT, you can do that. Okay. So let's continue forward. So the idea is, if you have a great profile, you can apply anywhere. You'll have a better chance at IIMs. But if you are someone who is good in point 2, 3, 4, you have shown impact, you have a clear goal alignment, and you are someone who knows why you're doing an MBA, the more the number of essays, the better it is for you. You will have a better chance to convey your case effectively to the B school. Now, the IIM versus ISB debate. So there are a lot of things that matter here. Again, duration of the program, it's a 1-year program, very fast paced. Compared to a 1-year IIM program, it's not that fast paced. Work experience, as I said, ISB requires less work experience. It's for young to mid-level professionals. IIMs generally look at more work experience, so that's there. ROI of ISB is much better, even though you might feel that the fees of ISB is higher. But when you look at ROI, you should not be looking at just 2-3 years post MBA. You should be looking at 10 years, 15 years post MBA. And ISB will offer you a much better ROI in that sense. And yeah, batch also. If you look at ISB, they have a batch of 800 students. If you look at IIMs, they have a very small batch. So the benefit of a large batch is that you have people coming from diverse backgrounds. You have a lot to learn. You can do a lot more networking. A small batch has its benefits also. It's a small close-knit community. You can interact much more with individual people, make better friends. So it all depends on what you are looking at. I generally prefer these schools which have at least 200 students in their batch. That's my minimum cutoff criteria to have the right level of learning that we need. Okay, now let's talk about ISB. Let's go deep dive into ISB. Let's understand what does it take to get into ISB, because I'm sure how many of you are, by the way, looking at ISB as an option. Say a yes if you're looking at ISB as an option, or let me know about that. So I'll focus on taking up your questions specifically more in this part of the session. But yeah, let's look at ISB. It's ranked 32 globally, number 4 in Asia. It is recording the highest global jump in salary numbers. Most of the people end up in consulting, and the second best is tech. Average experience, as I said, around 4 years is there. Average salary last year reported was around 33 lakhs per annum. But what does ISB look at in a student? So if you look at the essays of ISB, basically, these are the 3 main essays that were there in ISB last year. So the first essay was basically provide an honest portrayal of yourself, emphasizing your strengths and weaknesses. Now, if you really want to get into ISB, you should not be just looking at what the question is asking. You should be looking at what the question is really asking. Most people do not understand how to put their applications well, how to put their applications in the right way. They just look at the main elements. They don't go in depth to the questions. For most of them, this question is about strengths and weaknesses. This question is about your success and your failures. Okay, and this question is about how ISB will help you. But what you need to understand is that if you really want to get into ISB, you need to actually make a very consistent application. You should not just think about, okay, I need to think about my strengths and weaknesses and present it in the essay one. I need to think about one of my biggest achievement, one of my biggest failure, and present that. No, guys, that's not how it works. If you really want to get into ISB, you have to fight for it. So Ashwin, basically Aditya, if you really want to get into ISB, it is important that you focus on what I'm going to say next. So when you are looking at your application, see, application, your essays are your is basically your mode of communication to the adcom, telling them why they should choose you. It's your only shot at convincing them that you are a person who knows, who understands the rigor of ISB program, who knows that it's very fast paced, who knows what they're looking for in the long run and the short run, who knows very well what are the skills that they have, who knows very well what are the skills that they need to get, and who knows very well how will they get those skills from the ISB program. Is that clear? Think of it this way. It's the journey that you have to share. So this is where your long-term, short-term goals are. Okay. This is where you are at present, your present self. Okay. You understand the gap from this to this. You understand the skill gap that exists between this to this. And you understand how does an ISB fill that skill gap. So this is the entire journey that you need to show ISB through these essays. If you just go about plain and simple, thinking about your strengths, thinking about your weaknesses, achievements, and just plainly putting it there, it's not going to work out. I'll always recommend people, and I'm going to talk about that process, in-depth process that you need to follow. But let's do that through a case study, basically. So I'll talk about Bhavya. This person was able to score 670 on GMAT Classic, and 670 on GMAT Classic is basically 40 points lower than the average score. It's 40 points lower than the average of ISB. Okay, she reached out to a lot of consultants, and most of the people recommended her not to apply in 2023 because it was very close to round 2 that time, and most people said that you should go and apply in next year deadline. You should improve your GMAT. 670 may not work, basically. And to add to her dilemma was the fact that she was not from a diverse background. She was an engineering student, and she was an engineering graduate rather, and she was not from an NIT or an IIT. She was not from any of the top NITs or IITs. She was from a other private engineering college. Now, she also had 4 years of experience in financial institutions. That was one thing which was there. But most people looked at her profile and said that 670 might not just work out. But when she worked with me and we discussed her case, we looked at her USPs. We looked at that her profile is not just defined by her background in terms of the school, colleges that she's from or the institutes that she's working in. It's not just about the GMAT score, it's about the impact that she has made. She had done some amazing things in her college. She had done some amazing leadership initiatives she had taken, which most people don't take. And she also got recognized for the work that she had done. Like, she carried forward those leadership skills to her professional sphere as well. And she got recognized from onshore teams for that in a very big way. So we felt that we have a strong case for ISB. We can still apply and get in. And she was able to get into ISB in round 2 with her application by making sure that she makes a consistent and a sound application. Now, what is the process that we followed? Let's understand that. Let's understand her journey, and this is the journey that you need to follow. If an engineering student can apply in round 2, get in with a 40-point lower than average of ISB, you can also get there if you follow the same process. So the first thing that we focused on was the target clarity. That, okay, we started looking at all the things that she has done in her career, all the examples, all the initiatives, all the impact that she has made, all her strengths, all her weaknesses also for that matter. And we looked at everything and created a skill map that, okay, based on the skills that you have portrayed, what should be the goal that you should present to ISB. Now, what you need to understand is that ISB's goal essay is still an optional essay. Even for this year application, it's an optional essay. But you should definitely fill it, because that gives ISB a chance to understand your goals. And that's very important to show. You want ISB to know that you're coming with very clear goals in mind. So we identified what are the best goals, what are the, like she had an idea about what she wants to do in the short run and long term. We defined them better. We refined it further. We identified the trigger points, we identified and connected those dots. So goal clarity is where you start with. Then you try to understand how do you use these essays to communicate those goals, to show those skills. See, what we looked at was that Bhavya's story is not making a lot more sense, and she wanted to get into consulting, and it was making a lot more sense for consulting. And but we also connected that journey of consulting to her long-term goal in terms of what kind of impact she wants to create on the society. So we talked about her getting into venture capital funds, which are actually focused on funding social impact focused organizations. So she wants to get into a venture capital fund or start a fund of her own in the long run, using her background in finance and consulting, and leverage it to actually help social impact organizations grow in India. So that was the long term goal that we presented. So it is important that when we are writing down the essays, we showcase those skills, the skills around impact, the skills around adaptability, the skills around basically making a positive change, the skills around basically consulting requires adaptability, consulting requires solutioning, right? You have to create solutions for clients. The skills around problem solving, okay, the skills around taking ownership. Consultant needs to take ownership of large scale problems that clients are facing and help them solve it. So these were certain keywords, these were certain important things that we wanted to ensure that we plant in the heads of the adcoms when they're reading the essays. It's not just their conscious mind that is reading it, it's their subconscious also that is reading it. So you want to plant the right thoughts in the mind of the adcoms. And again, it's not about it's not about stuffing those keywords in your essays. They need to make sense. You need to create a storyline around it. That's very important. So even the other parts, the resumes and LORs, we ensure that in the LORs those points are substantiated and all of that. So first and foremost thing was the short-term, long-term goal clarity. We defined that consulting is where she wants to get in. Strategy consulting, leveraging her finance background and strategy consulting, she wants to get into VC, social impact focused VC in the long run. So that was the definition. We identified the skills that she has, ownership. Basically, she wants to make a positive impact on people around her, on societies. She is someone who is a problem solver. She doesn't shy down from it. She is a leader. So we identified certain persona skills for her. And then when we looked at the essays, we were looking at the essays in a very different way. Then we realized that, okay, the essays are not just asking you about your strengths and weaknesses, or not just asking you about your achievements. Rather, they're asking about who you are. Focus on this. It's very important that you identify these keywords. This essay is not just asking us about your strengths and weakness. They want to understand who you are. What is your personal journey? How has it been shaped till now? How have you grown up? What are the things that have impacted you? In fact, this year they have changed the essay prompts a little bit, and they have made it even more clearer this year actually. In essay 2, they are focusing not just on strengths and achievements, they are focusing on your personal and interpersonal lessons. Most people think of the 400 words which are there in the essays, and they utilize these 400 words just to talk about their achievements, just to boast about their achievements and failures. They fail to focus on the lessons. What ISB is actually looking at is, what were your lessons from it? How clearly are you able to think about that? How well, from the essay 1, they want to understand how well do you know yourself? What has shaped your personal journey? Those things is what they're looking at. Understood? A quick yes no guys if you are with me until this point. Quick yes no guys if you are with me. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Happy to help. Rohan says, am I going to talk about international schools? Not today, Rohan. I have already talked about last 2 or 3 sessions I've taken on international schools only. So today we thought of taking focus on giving our focus to Indian schools. Okay, great, Sumit. Thank you, Ashwin. Thank you, Sumit, for letting me know that you're with me. All of this is making sense. Now let's see. I'll take some examples from Bhavya's essays to help you understand how did we cater to this. So first essay is about yourself. What's your personal journey all about? So focus on this. Okay, the very first para that we started with, we focused on certain keywords. If you see very closely, we talked about her journey, whether it was about significantly impacting or boosting aerospace branch placements as a student representative during my college days or my professional endeavors. I have always believed in, and very strong words after that, taking ownership to drive positive change. Now, these are the thoughts that we are planting in the AdCom's mind. This is how you, this is the kind of depth you need to go in with the essays, because we knew that our long-term goal is to create a positive change. We knew that our short-term goal is to get into strategy consulting. Our short-term goal is about that. So we wanted the AdCom to actually understand that we have the power to take ownership. We believe in making a positive change, and then we are going to go into the depth of that positive change and help them understand how will we make that positive change happen. So the idea is that we are giving them a very strong opening statement which is in line with our goals. So basically the opening statements, if you see very closely, they are very much in line with our goals of consulting, strategy consulting. They are in line with our goals of long-term goal of impact focused VC fund. So it's very clearly giving them an understanding about what are the skills that I'm portraying. It's strengthening those thoughts in their mind. When they get to that level, everything is important over there. And then when we ended, like in a part of the entire essay one was also about forward thinking training program, about how we laid a foundation for something, how we revolutionized the entire training mechanism which was going on till that point. American trainers, again, most of you won't understand the entire context because uh, we don't have enough time to kind of present and talk about all entire essays of every student, right? So I'm bringing in the important points. So try to connect the dots. We are starting with taking ownership to drive a positive change. We are moving to a point where we're talking about laying foundation for a forward thinking training program, significantly changing how things have been done. So we are showing them that we are our personal journey, we understand who we are and what we stand for. Okay. Similarly, if I go to essay 2, okay, which is about your achievements, your learnings, your lessons, we are very clearly showing them. Again, the achievement you can read, it was about participating, representing India in a rocketry competition for the very first time. But what we are focusing on is talking about the achievement holding distinct significance because it happened at a very young age. Why that is critical? That is critical because we want the B school to understand that this person is able to evaluate herself really, really well. She's able to evaluate herself critically. She's able to understand what is important, what is not important, and how her journey has unfolded over the years. And then we focused on the part which talks about the learning. So if you focused, again, the essay was not just talking about achievements and strengths or failures, it was also talking about your personal and interpersonal learnings. So if you see, what are the personal learnings? A turning point in my life helped me realize my potential. We are validating that through an example, showing that we have the potential to take big challenges, achieve, do well on those. Okay, we are talking about then the skills that she learned: adaptability, leadership, power of collaborative problem solving. As a consultant, you will be doing that a lot. Collaborative problem solving, very critical, very, very important. Adaptability is very important. You get to work with different clients every time, right? Leadership is very important. You have to stand up, you have to present, you have to lead a team. A lot of those things are very critical. So we are showcasing through every part of the essay that we are ready for this, and all of that in the context of the larger, a smaller picture as well as the larger picture. So that is very critical. You should not just stuff your essays. Don't think of it this way that, okay, you know what, Piyush has given me a great armor, right? Not armor, great weapon. We just need to stuff our essays with those keywords. No, it's not like that. You have to make consistent applications, consistent storylines, which focus on the right skills, which trigger those right thoughts in the B school's mind. Okay, so that's how you get into ISB, guys, if you really, really want to get into ISB. So I understand that ISB application is coming very soon, Aditya, but you can achieve this. Bhavya, I think, spent about 3.5 or 4 weeks with me on the application process. Don't recall exactly, it was like almost 7-8 months back now. But in case you want to check out her story, we have covered her story on our YouTube channel itself. On the same channel, you'll be able to find Bhavya's story, in-depth interview of how she worked and everything. But it's still a lot of time that you have, Aditya, on your hands. We have helped people apply to ISB in 15 days also, and they have been able to get through still. Okay, so what are the essay prompts this year? So if you focus on the essay prompts, the first essay is more or less similar. Like, they have hardly changed anything in the first essay. Second essay, third essay, or optional essay is still the same. Second essay, they have changed a little bit. They want you to talk about intellectual experiences that have influenced your approach to learning and have led you to pursue an MBA. So they are talking about your triggers, basically, in a way to do an MBA, inflection points, learnings. How do you realize? When do you realize that you have to learn, or when do you change your approach towards learning? Certain intellectual experiences around that. It is very, very important that you take this question very seriously. It's a very tricky question. At the same time, this gives you a great opportunity to present to them how do you think about your life. When you look at situations, how do you understand how good you are? How do you evaluate yourself over a period of time? How do you decide when you should skill up yourself? How do you work with people around you? How do you learn from them, basically? So those kind of things they are also trying to test. They're also trying to test your understanding of like planning your career well overall. So this question is going to be a lot more tricky question than the previous year's question, but it gives you all those opportunities to explain your case to them. Okay, now, as I was saying earlier, that there are some B schools which have a lot of essay prompts which give you a chance to explain yourself. So, for example, IIM Kozhikode PGP-BL program last year intake, as in this year intake, the application was last year. There were 5 main essays. They are giving you a chance to explain your career, explain your plans, explain your career objectives in the long run. They are giving you an option to explain your current job role, explain what skills you have acquired. They are giving you a chance to explain your strengths and weaknesses. They're giving you a chance to talk about your accomplishments and your hobbies as well. So there is so much scope to actually, it's not just about information overload. You should not be doing information overload. The idea is you need to present a consistent personality. You have a lot of scope to present who you are as an individual to the B school then. And that gives you an opportunity to get into the program even if you don't have a very, very strong profile. I'm not saying IIM Kozhikode chooses people with weak profiles. Please understand. All I'm trying to say is that if you're someone who has shown leadership skills, who has done the impact, but you're probably not working with the best of the brands, or you I did not have a great undergrad school, you can still get into some of the top programs if you have made impact in your professional career, because they are giving you a chance to make yourself heard. That's something which is important. And that's what we did with Anadi. She had a 630 on GMAT, 3 years of family business experience, which is something which in India is not taken very, very seriously by many B schools. Like they think if you're working in a family business, you're probably not working as much. But she made sure, like she actually did some really great things in the family business. Even though it was a medium-sized enterprise, she actually worked around policies and a lot of other processes and changed a lot of things around that. And she took the bold step to join a marketing role when she realized that marketing is the go-to thing that her family business needs to kind of grow. She developed her interest in that, and she entered into entry-level role in a startup after 3 years of experience that was going against her in her application, to be honest, in her profile. But the USPs about her was she was very strong. She was very focused on marketing. She had done some amazing community work, as I was telling that in family business, she had done some great work around women policies for those women, and she had that entrepreneurial nature in her. Because of that, she was selected with to Bitsome. She also got to the interview stage for IIM Kozhikode. Did not go that well. She was not able to convert Kozhikode in the end, but she was selected with Bitsome program. But yeah, she also applied to a few foreign universities. She was selected in the third ranked university in Canada. She was selected in the fifth ranked university for marketing in the US, that too with 80% scholarship. Another top university ranked around 30 overall gave her a 50% scholarship in the US. So she's going to the US now, to the fifth ranked marketing university. She has been able to achieve her goal with the right stories. So you can also achieve your goals, but the most important thing is that you need to understand the art of storytelling. You should be able to relate. You should be able to make the adcom relate to your case. Okay, so that's about it from my side today. If you have any questions now, I'm opening the session for open-ended Q&A. If you have more questions that you want to ask me directly, you can reach out to me on my email ID or my WhatsApp number. You can also schedule a call in my calendar, by the way. Okay, and if you are interested in a GMAT course, feel free to register for our free trial on our website itself. Okay, guys. So I'll take up some of your questions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm going to be here for some time to take up your questions. I'll take up Amit's question. Amit has openly disclosed her salary, which very few people do. But yeah, he's asking like, I'm making a decent amount of money in the government sector. Is it worth it going for IIMs, or should I try for foreign universities? So Amit, if you're going to IIMs, ISB is a better option for sure than IIMs. But yeah, you have 10 years of experience. ISB might be a little tricky. Now IIMs still is much better than what you're doing in your present role for sure, because the problem with government sector is that even if you want to work, people around you, at least the people in the senior positions, don't want to work a lot. So the culture is still not the best, and I get a lot of phone calls from people who are very like, they want to do well in their career, they want to learn, but they're not able to do that in a government setup, in a PSU setup. So they want to change their field, they want to get into the private space just because of that, because they feel brain dead sometimes. They're not able to utilize their skills, they're not able to grow their skills. So in that sense, an IIM MBA is also going to help you, because you're going to get into much more challenging roles in the long run, and it will give you that platform. So you should not be looking at just the salary as the number. And even if you look at salary as the number, you should not be looking at just the starting salaries, because understand that if you do an MBA and you do well in your career, most of the people who do an MBA and do well in their careers, 3 years, 4 years down the line, they easily double their salaries, and in 10 years down the line, you can be looking at 5 times your salary also. So that's something which you should be looking at. If you think you can get to that kind of a number 7, 8 years down the line, even, or 10 years down the line, without doing an MBA, that is still okay to think. But if you can't get to that number, you should definitely look at it. But as I said, MBA is not about just the packages that you should be looking at. It's definitely about the learning, the impact that you can make. Now, are foreign B schools better than IIMs? In terms of learning, definitely yes. You will get better quality education, more exposure. But with international schools, there are other things also that you need to keep in mind. So definitely take that into account as well. When you have 12 years of experience, getting into a top university internationally also becomes a little challenging, except for a few programs which are meant for high work experience people, like the Sloan Fellow programs, or maybe an NCR program, or there are a few other programs like Kellogg 1 year program is there. So there are few programs that are meant for high work experience people, but there are limited options, so you have a very strong competition there also. Ashwin is asking, I'm an engineering graduate, non-IIT, 5 years of experience in operations. I would like to shift my career to consulting and freelance, preparing for GMAT currently. Round two is my first priority, considering your profile, my profile, which program will be suitable for me, how much score should I target in GMAT? So, see again, if you're targeting GMAT score, you should, as I said, for ISB, 665 to 675 is what your focus, GMAT focus score should be looking like. Which program will be suitable? Yeah, I'm not sure whether you mean by program in terms of GMATWhiz program, or like the ISB program, or the MBA program in general. So if you're looking at MBA program, ISB is the best. In terms of GMAT-based programs, we have multiple options. We can talk about it. What's my probability of getting into ISB? Yeah, with this data, just this data, it's impossible for me to tell, to be honest. Like, we need to have a discussion to understand that better. If not ISB, which college should I target equivalent to ISB value? Any Asian foreign schools? There are a lot of them, Ashwin, to be honest. And as I said, we can try discuss about your experience. I would like to definitely know more about what you do. It's not just about operations field, it's also about the kind of impact you're making and a lot of other things. So feel free to reach out to me. Happy to discuss over a call and help you understand what kind of goals you can look at, or what kind of schools you can look at as well. Okay. So great, guys. I don't see any other question in the chat. So I hope you guys liked the session. In case you did, do give it a like and thumbs up, and then subscribe to our channel. Turn on the bell icon so that you will receive notifications. I want to do a session every week, but yeah, this time of the year is relatively busy in terms of like, there are a lot of people that you're working with. So sometimes it becomes difficult for me to do a session every week, but I'll definitely try my best to connect with you guys again on the next topic in our consulting webinar series next Wednesday, or and see you there overall. Okay, guys. So all the best, and I hope you like the session. Do give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.